early search engines were sometimes just lists of favorite websites and directory of websites. So for example, if you had a website that sold toys for pets, so you would choose a category such as e-commerce, family and health, pets, and then whenever somebody searched on your category or searched for pet toys on that particular search engines, your website would show up along with a bunch of others in alphabetical order. And early on, even at places like Yahoo, there were actually human beings that were looking at websites that were being submitted and deciding how they should be ranked on their search engine for relevancy of various keywords. And as you might imagine, this was okay early on when there were thousands of websites and maybe even tens of thousands of websites. But once you started getting into the millions and now hundreds of millions of websites, it's obviously impossible for humans to do this. Then in 1996, two guys working on their PhD at Stanford had a very important insight. Their insight was this. They noticed that at the back of their PhD papers, there was a bibliography. These were references or citations within their PhD paper when it referenced other sources for information. And they said, well, you know, there are some references that have a lot of citations in other papers. So for example, if a bunch of other PhD papers are referring to George Bibby and his paper on the new tech bubble, it must mean that George Bibby and his paper are very important. If a bunch of other PhD papers are all referring to the same source, it gives this source very high authoritative value. And they thought, well, why not use the same concept for websites? Why not rank the authority or importance of a website based on the number of citations that that particular website has on other websites? The citations in the parlance of web pages is called backlinks. This concept of giving a page importance based on the number of backlinks that it has became the concept of PageRank, and this concept of PageRank was born. And what PageRank means is really the number of other websites that are referring to your website. So if you have a lot of websites referring to your website, your PageRank is going to be very high, and your website is going to be considered very authoritative. And that's how websites are largely ranked today. So who invented this concept of PageRank? Well, the two guys who were working their PhDs were two guys by the name of Sergey Brin and Larry Page. And as you might have figured out, these two guys are the founders of Google. Now let's get into some of the mechanics. And I'm going to talk about Google, but really the mechanics are the same for Yahoo and Bing as well. What Google does is it catalogs the World Wide Web by using something called a spider or web crawler. These are also sometimes called Google bots. They're computer programs that traverse the World Wide Web. They scan and access the content on all web pages, and what they do is they take a look at everything that's on the web page. So they'll look at, you know, the titles, the content, the images, the tagging of the images. They'll do a whole bunch of other things behind the scenes as well, and I'm going to get into a lot of that, what they're actually looking at, what these spiders are actually looking at later on. But there's a host of things. There are over 200 things that they are looking at when they come to your website. And these robots or bots from Google, they index the site in this way. They take all this information and they put it into a big repository. The repository is basically Google's mainframe computers located in California. Now what happens is, in that mainframe, Google takes that information along with the information that they've gathered from the hundreds of millions of other websites, and they analyze this data using a complex computer algorithm or formula to determine what your site's search engine results should be compared to everything else out there for particular keywords. So this algorithm is really very important, and it's the key to understanding how Google works. It's the key to understanding Google. It's the key to cracking Google. So what do we know about this algorithm? Well, we know that it's highly sophisticated. It's constantly being tweaked. There are about 600 to 800 tweaks done on this algorithm every year by Google. It's been significantly upgraded and honed in the past 3 years. So So the kinds of results that you got on Google 3 years ago is not the same as the results that you're going to get today. They're much more relevant. Now, the precise formula for this algorithm is top secret. There's only a handful of people that know what this formula is. It's kind of like the formula for Coca-Cola. It's known by only 2 people in the world. That formula is kept in a secret vault in the Swiss Alps, and the 2 people that know it don't travel together. Google's formula is like that. Even people within Google, the vast majority, don't know precisely what this formula is. I'm sure Sergey Brin and Larry Page know what this formula is, but there's not too many others that do. Now, what if I told you that I have cracked Google's formula? If I told you that I have cracked what Google's formula actually is, would that make this course worthwhile for you? Well, that's precisely what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you that I have cracked Google's formula, and I'm about to reveal it right now. All right, so here is Google's formula. Now, if you can't see this formula, that's because you have not signed up with your email to the left. So just sign up to the email to the left, and I will reveal this formula to you. I promise you that you will not be disappointed. It has taken me 5 years to figure out this formula. I've spoken to at least a dozen different SEO professionals, looked at the latest research from the top SEO research websites. I have gathered that information and compiled it and put it into a non-technical format that you can understand. And I'm going to reveal that to you. And believe me, it's not something you will have seen before. Every time I've revealed this and done this talk, people have been amazed. Now this is absolutely free. There is no obligation whatsoever. However, should you decide to become a member of DIY SEOs, I am going to take you by the hand, go through every single ranking factor in Google's formula, and show you exactly what you need to do to rank high in Google and take advantage of this formula, knowing what it is. The final thing I want to tell you is you've got absolutely nothing to lose. At a minimum, you're going to know what the formula is. So just sign up with your best email to the left, and I will see you on the other side.